I was born in the beautiful and ancient city of Lviv, founded by Ukrainian King Daniel in the 12th century. The western part of Ukraine has a very patriotic and independent spirit. Independent because of the tragic experiences of being conquered by the Austrian-Hungarian, Russian and Polish empires. Our land was soaked in blood after battling with the Mongolo-Tatarians, Russian slavery, Stalin Bolsheviks, and Hitler's Nazi occupation. Now we're fighting Putin. Since 1939, we have been oppressed by a Soviet communist regime. Through all of this, we have learned how to survive and how to fight the enemy in different ways. Open opposition resulted in a straight path to the Gulag in jail, or to an obligatory treatment at a special psychiatrist clinic as they converted prominent brave dissidents into vegetables. So many good and intelligent people had to balance between open protest and silent partisan-style resistance. After my official immigration to America as a political refugee in 2003, I would never ever imagine I would have the terrifying feeling of déjà vu that I'm experiencing today. Yes, as a very proud citizen of the United States of America, the most incredible and free country in the world, I feel like I'm back to the CCCP, Soviet Union, during the worst times of the Cold War, featuring bloody genocide of their own citizens. Allow me to show you a few examples to understand what I'm talking about. I call it my parallels, then and now. As you know, the Communist Party of the Soviet Union was the only party in that country, that regime. Propaganda was assuring us that only communists are normal. Everybody else is simply not developed enough to have a real red ID with a hammer and sickle symbol and Lenin's profile. Well, this sounds familiar, right? Democrats, liberals, progressives acting like a very privileged and high-level caste, but all the rest of us are deplorable individuals. For those who wanted to have a career and work as a teacher, professor in a university, or factory director, etc., any position, Communist Party membership was the only option to be promoted, and you had to work according to their Soviet education. I once said something against the forced use of the Russian language over my Ukrainian language in my school. My father, medical doctor, prominent surgeon, was interviewed by party leader immediately, that same day, probably teacher called. He was cordially advised to reconsider a previous offer to join the Communist Party, which he refused a few times, and change his parental influence toward his daughter. Otherwise, his name would be brought to the attention of special authorities. The same day, my dad had a very intimate conversation with me in our small kitchen. He did not forget to open a faucet, so the sound of running water would muffle our conversation. Again, neighbors. That day, I learned how to live with a dual mentality. What to say in public places and what to keep for myself. How to read the Soviet newspaper and not believe their propaganda. How to be the smartest A+ student in my class and not reveal my real knowledge and beliefs. How to pretend to be just like everyone else, but hold on to my individuality. I did this to camouflage myself in school and in the public in order to prevent my family from being reprimanded, arrested, or worse. I was 11 years old then, yes, just a kid. And many years after that day, I learned that on the same day they had spoken with my father, the local KGB opened a case file on me. My parents were on the blacklist for a long time, but now I was privileged to have the KGB personal attention. Sound familiar? What do we see these days in our schools and universities and colleges? Anyone who is not supporting leftist ideology and propaganda, or God forbid, have the guts to openly support President of United States, will be bullied, punished, fired, or shamed. In the Soviet Union, they were telling us about equal rights. I'm still laughing. About the bright future of communism and about the importance of following the line of Marxism-Leninism. Oh, in every step to build the new world. Yeah, they still build it now with Putin. All of that was a brutal lie. Equality? No, only communists could enjoy special privileges of the regime. And only high-end communist leaders lived in their special communist paradise consisting of a free home, free summer cottages, free cars with chauffeur, free vacations, symbolic prices for high-quality food and goods delivered to their doors by servants. Priorities in education, career, healthcare, yes, they had special hospitals and luxury resorts, complete with special care for all family members. They enjoyed special VIP services, carefully hidden from plebs and simple people, whose only privilege was cheap vodka and long lines at a food store to get basic food. My equality story, one of many, is when I had to take my 4-year-old son to stand in a long time outside the food store in -20 C weather to get an extra pound of butter, because 1 person, 1 pound was the rule then. My baby was quiet and patient, feeling as a little man, helping his mom to feed the family of 6. There was nothing remotely equal for the millions of Ukrainians in East Ukraine dying from hunger and committing cannibalism during a terrible famine in 1932-33, we call it Holodomor. But this famine wasn't caused by lack of food. It was caused by special Soviet troops who were sent to every village and every household to expropriate all food and goods for the Soviet system of needs. Moscow's communists were enjoying caviar, exotic fruits and delicacies, but 11 million more hard-working Ukrainians were dying, complete with pain and suffering. They were buried in mass graves like diseased cattle. Again, a very familiar situation. Our famous leaders of BLM claim to be trained Marxists, yeah, officially, while using their donors' money to buy luxury mansions in predominantly white neighborhoods. Our brilliant global warming supporters asking us to save the planet and use less gas-fueled cars, which is okay, and all while flying on their private jets, owning collections of expensive gas-powered cars and yachts, etc. Our own Governor Kate Brown, obsessed with selling Oregon out to communist China while making a hidden fortune on dirty transactions and criminal business. Our mass media spreading liberal lies, brainwashing society with false leftist propaganda, but fact-checking us as they silence President of United States only because he's telling the truth and 100 million people are listening to him. My dad was listening to Voice of America every Saturday night, as I remember as a kid, covering his old transistor radio with a blanket to ensure the neighbors could not hear. The radio signal was often jammed or interfered with by the KGB, plenty of static interference, but every Sunday morning Dad would whisper to us some news average people had no idea about. I felt so proud of myself and thankful to my dad for sharing. Because of this, I knew and understood much more than other kids. That knowledge stimulated my brain to think, analyze and build that invisible shield to protect me from becoming part of a primitive, speechless, and blindfolded majority. Aren't we in the same situation today? To learn what's really going on, we have to be innovative and smart. We have to put millions of puzzle pieces from different sources together, manage to read between the lines, determine which sources are trustworthy, and be aware of our local KGB-like organizations. You know what I'm talking about. They think they have right to tell us their side of a story, their truth, their fake facts and news, while cutting us off from reality, because they think we are not good enough to see the difference between the real White House and the movie studio fake one, between recognizing the real Air Force One, and the fake one, between witnessing a real inauguration and staging a fake one, between the real president of our nation and the fake one, between the real smell of freedom and the nasty odor of subjugation. When I listen to our new socialist, communist, Marxist leaders, the fair thought is, come on guys, you have no idea what are you talking about. You have no idea what socialism or communism is. All you've learned from propaganda books is only poisoned illusion. As they talk about sending Trump supporters to reprogramming camps, like in North Korea or China, or vowing to eradicate Trump forces in Oregon, direct quote from Governor Kate Brown, my counter-offer is, if you want to taste your dreamy socialism, then spend at least a month in Venezuela or Cuba, Freedom Island, right? And not as an American tourist. I guarantee you will return as a different person if you survive. You will kiss American soil in the airport and shut up forever about anything less than freedom and liberty. I was trying to find a word to describe the condition we are living in now. The best description came to my mind was political racism. Yes, we must stand up and let them know we are not a lower caste, or the deplorable title they label us with. We are the patriots, we are the leaders, we are the fighters, we are Americans, and we do know how to fix our America and make it great again. And we will.